Streaming on clickorlando.com, you're watching News 6 at 10. Now on News 6, bundle up and bring the pets inside. Nearly everyone is under a freeze warning tonight. Meteorologist Jonathan Kegas shows us the cold you'll face when you wake up.
It's pretty scary. Like, we were going to the gym, me and my friends, and then suddenly we see all this.
SWAT deputies swarm a neighborhood after a woman was shot near a school. Helen kept Elementary kids inside for hours.
And an officer shoots a man who is already bleeding, spotted walking with a knife, trying to go inside a bank filled with customers. The latest word from the police chief.
I wish I could sit up here and say this is the last of our consolidations. I'm afraid that would be an untrue statement.
A bombshell from the superintendent even before Orange County votes to close 7 schools. Why more schools could shut down next year.
Doing 106, baby. It's Mr. Johnson, so I know him.
It's never good when a deputy knows you by name. What happened when a motorcyclist was spotted going more than 100 miles an hour in a 45 with a kid on board?
All these cars driving fast. If I made the wrong step, I would have got hit by one of them.
That young boy's mom is outraged. A school made her son walk home more than 2 miles when she was late. Why the district calls this a misunderstanding. I'm Ginger Gadsden. Thank you for joining us.
And I'm Matt Austin. We'll have those stories in a moment. But first, here's Eric Von Anken with tonight's top stories.
Matt, Ginger, no question as to what the top story is tonight. The wind chill, as you said, again tonight. You can see it whipping those palm trees as we look live from our Launch Credit Union port cam, and the freeze for most of Central Florida. Freeze warnings are now in effect for all local counties except Brevard, and our weather team is pinpointing how low it will go again tonight. Where you live, we're talking lows in the 30s, even the 20s tonight. This is meteorologist Jonathan Kegas, of course. Once we get through this, Jonathan, even colder air is coming.
Yeah, you saw the top, that graphic there, those wind chills. That's what we're going to be facing as we wake up on Sunday morning. What we have out there now is cold enough, but as Eric mentioned, it is going to get even colder. Temperatures right now already falling into the 30s and middle 30s at that. Ocala, good evening. We're at 34, 35 in Denell and Mount Dora just after 10 o'clock tonight, slipping into the upper 30s as well. 39 in Sanford, 36 New Smyrna Beach. Tomorrow morning, there you go. We're waking up for it on mid-20s in Ocala and Denellen, 27 in the Villages. We're at 33 degrees in Oviedo. Tomorrow morning when you wake up, rivals the coldest air of the season so far. Freeze warning for most of Central Florida. That's the best opportunity for air temperatures to get to 32 or colder. We do have a frost advisory in play for Brevard County. The frost potential is going to be there. It is going to be cold no matter how you slice it. We're going to talk about the secondary round of cold. Coldest air since 2010 slides in this weekend at about 10:19, Eric.
See you then, Jonathan. Thank you. Breaking now at 10 o'clock tonight. An end to an hours-long standoff and SWAT team investigation, one that kept children locked in their elementary school classrooms for hours in the past hour or so. Deputies revealed that they were looking for a man who has apparently taken his own life. This started after a woman was shot at a home on Sonco Avenue, just outside the town of Windermere. When you see on the map how close this is to Keynes Crossing Elementary on the left, you'll understand why students were held safely inside that school. Your Orange County community correspondent Troy Campbell has been in the neighborhood for hours as this all unfolded.
We are much closer to the home now. In fact, law enforcement had pushed us away several blocks while the situation was unfolding. Investigators say after several hours, their investigators went inside of the home and they found the man dead from a self-inflicted gunshot wound.
Honestly, they're just in shock. It doesn't really happen around here. It's quite a quiet part of Orlando, so it's definitely quite shocking.
Neighbors in the Summerport neighborhood in Windermere reacting to this large law enforcement presence on Tuesday.
This looked like a safe neighborhood, but now this is happening, so I don't know.
The Orange County Sheriff's Office says it was called out to the 14,000 block of Sunco Avenue in Windermere at about 2:30 Tuesday afternoon. That's when deputies say they found a woman wounded from at least one bullet and rushed her to the hospital. Her injuries are described as life-threatening. Investigators say they had reason to believe the gunman went back inside of the home. OCSO then called in the SWAT team, and nearby Keens Crossing Elementary was put on a secure hold for a couple of hours before having a late dismissal.
It's definitely disruptive. I mean, a lot of roads are shut down. It's very saddening.
After the kids were gone, law enforcement used the school's parking lot as a staging area.
How would you describe this scene?
This, like a crime scene, I don't know, it's pretty scary. Like we were going to the gym, me and my friends, and then suddenly we see all this and we don't understand what was happening.
And is it kind of like unnerving, a little scary?
Yeah, it is. It is because there are a lot of police cars here.
For several hours into the evening, the SWAT team could be heard asking the man to come out and surrender. Then investigators say the team went in, finding the man shot to death, apparently by his own hand. And again, law enforcement began clearing this area around this home just after 8 p.m. We also are waiting for an update on the condition for the woman who was shot. At last update, we were told her injuries were considered life-threatening. In Orange County, I'm your community correspondent, Troy Campbell, News 6.
Also developing at 10, Orange City Police just confirmed they shot a man with a knife who was trying to make his way into a bank. And that man was already bleeding when they first spotted him. They followed him for blocks until the confrontation outside the Truist Bank off Enterprise Road. News 6's Alex Cook got there right after the man was rushed off to the hospital.
An Orange City police officer shot a man wielding a knife outside this Truist Bank in Orange City this afternoon. The police chief says that man was already bleeding and holding a knife as he led police officers across this busy shopping complex where they tried to get him to stop and even tased him, but were unable to stop him before he got to the bank, where that officer shot him to protect everyone inside.
Well, he was entering an establishment where other individuals were, and thankfully that it was only one person injured. It could have been more individuals by him entering the bank, armed at that time.
Orange City Police Chief Daryl Miller says he didn't know the extent of the man's injuries, but says he was taken to a local hospital for treatment. As is typical for officer-involved shootings, the Florida Department of Law Enforcement is leading the investigation. We saw them outside the bank through the afternoon and into the night, along with Volusia Sheriff crime scene techs and Orange City police officers. So far, there's no word on who this bleeding, knife-wielding man was or why he led police to the bank and refused their instructions. Chief Miller says the officer who fired that shot has been with the department for about a year. He asked for the public's help with the investigation.
I would just ask that, if anybody else has any video or witnessed this incident, to please reach out to the Orange City Police Department. And our partners here from the Florida Department of Law Enforcement are here on scene to lead this investigation, which is standard in police officer shooting.
In Orange City, Alex Cook, News 6.
A Brevard County couple is facing serious charges after a family member reported them for animal abuse. And a warning here, the video might be upsetting to you. Here's Tara. Investigators say James Preston and Heather Ballantine adopted her, promised they could provide her special meds. Instead, deputies say Tara was neglected, nearly starved to death. A family member noticed she was malnourished and called law enforcement. The sheriff says she was a 1 on a health scale of 1 to 9. Sheriff Wayne Ivey says Tara is slowly recovering after seeing a vet team. Preston and Ballantine are charged with animal cruelty.
Developing tonight in Volusia County, after initially saying there would be no arrest, a 14-year-old is facing charges in connection to a door-kicking prank that led to a dog's death in Deltona. We told you yesterday about a woman demanding justice after her Yorkie was killed in this prank back in December. The Volusia Sheriff's Department says teens kicked in the door, allowing the dog to get out, and was eventually hit by a car. Well, after your Volusia County community correspondent Molly Reed started asking questions about why no one has been charged, the sheriff's office took another look at the case and found new leads. We are not naming the teen, but they are facing burglary and criminal mischief charges. Tonight, a bombshell of a warning for parents and teachers. Orange County is expecting to lose another 5,000 students next year.
That word from the superintendent means more schools may have to close next year, on top of 7 on the chopping block right now. Your Orange County community correspondent, Tylisa Hampton, looks at what's at stake.
It's a change that will impact thousands of families.
From what you have heard is maybe the #1 concern from people.
Don't close my school. But that may be inevitable as the Orange County School Board discussed the controversial consolidations, with 7 schools set to close due to declining enrollment.
Including declining birth rates, expanded school choice, legislative changes allowing co-location of charter schools, as well as changes to immigration policies.
Over the past 3 years, there's been 8,600 fewer students, causing a reduce in funding. Although there's yet to be a final vote, the board is going over maps and strategies for rezoning.
121 elementary students residing and attending Bonneville Elementary School recommended to be moved to Eastlake Elementary School.
The board considering all options, each one with a direct impact on students and families.
What made option 2 different from option 1?
We were increasing Columbia, but Eastlake was kind of staying flat, and their numbers were very low, far below their capacity levels. So my main intent was to ensure that both schools flourish.
Board members point to state funding, calling on the legislator to fix, and issues that aren't isolated to Orange County, although admitting if things don't change, more closures might not be avoidable.
I wasn't going to say this, but we're projected, I believe, for another 5,000 fewer students next year. And so while I wish I could sit up here and say this is the last of our consolidations, I'm afraid that that would be an untrue statement.
That was Tylisa Hampton reporting. We're told a final vote on this round of school closings could come as soon as March 10th. We'll keep you posted. Tonight, a young boy's mom is outraged.
A school made her son walk home more than 2 miles when she was late.
Walking home by myself at a young age, that's kind of dangerous. Anybody can stop and just grab me.
And when I seen him, all I could do is hysterically give him a kiss, hug him.
Ahead on News 6, why the school calls this all a big misunderstanding.
Come on, man. Why are we doing this? With a kid in the back of this bike.
You heard right, a biker clocked going 106 miles an hour and he had a kid holding on. The excuse he gave that might make you shake your head. You're watching News 6 on a Tuesday night, covering Baldwin Park, Bay Hill, and all of Central Florida. This portion of the news is sponsored by Central Florida Honda Dealers. Now on News 6 tonight, a 9-year-old and his mom are sorting out a scare in Brevard County.
Yeah, yesterday afternoon, his school sent the boy home and told him to walk to his house 2 miles away across a major highway. Now, usually the boy gets a ride to his house from Endeavor Elementary in Cocoa.
But this time, his mom was supposed to pick him up, and she was late. Your Cocoa community correspondent James Sparvero is digging into why that boy was told to walk.
All these cars driving fast. If I made the wrong step, I would have got hit by one of them.
A 9-year-old walks 2 miles home from school alone, including crossing busy Highway 520, because his mom says Endeavor Elementary wouldn't wait for her to pick him up when she was running late.
He was nowhere to be found. So I start panicking as a mother.
This mother told me she told the school she'd be picking her son up all this week, but Brevard Public Schools says she didn't fill out the paperwork. She says there was none. Alicia Aiken brought her son Ronald with her to talk more about this scary situation for your family, Alicia. First of all, how's Ronald doing?
He's doing good. You okay, Cho?
Yes.
Ronald, what was this like yesterday? You walked home by yourself 2 miles.
No, it was more than 2 miles. And I passed a highway.
How dangerous did that feel? You're just 9 years old.
Walking home by myself as a young age, that's kind of dangerous. Anybody can stop and just grab me.
So, Alicia, to hopefully prevent this from ever happening again, the district tells me you've cleared up any misunderstandings?
Yes.
With the school about the transportation of your son at dismissal?
Yes, sir. They had apologized to me, and I said, what if something would happen to my child? And when I seen him, all I could do is hysterically give him a kiss, hug him, and I was so upset.
She was praising the Lord for keeping me safe.
And we're so happy, Ronald, that you're okay. And hopefully you won't have to ever do that again, all right? In Brevard County, I'm your Cocoa community correspondent, James Sparvero, News 6.
Doing 106, baby. See if you can get him stopped. It's Mr. Johnson, so I know him.
Yeah, it's never good when a deputy knows you by name, recognizing you when you're spotted going more than 105 miles an hour in a 45 zone. That's what the Marion County Sheriff's Office says happened Saturday.
Yeah, and that's not the biggest surprise to this story.
It's going to be Sierra 0, November Golf 13. It's turning southbound on Southeast 56 Court.
Even though the deputy turned his lights and sirens on, the bike kept going until it stopped in front of a home. When David Johnson finally did stop, the deputy had one question.
Why are we doing this? With a kid in the back of this bike. Mr. Johnson, why are we doing this?
So I just put a clutch in it.
Come on, man.
All right, so you heard it right the first time. The passenger riding on the back of the motorcycle was a kid. Johnson is facing charges of child neglect and operating a vehicle at 100 miles plus per hour.
A Polk County Sheriff's Office deputy hopped into action to save a woman from her biggest fear. That deputy was called to a home near Lakeland by a woman who said there's a, quote, huge and big frog under her couch, and she is deathly afraid of frogs. Well, there wasn't just one huge and big frog under the couch, there were two. So to serve and protect, the deputy did something they didn't exactly teach at the academy. She got rid of the frogs for that terrified woman. She looked pretty happy to do it, too. This may be a surprise considering the weather. SpaceX has not given up trying to send a satellite into space tonight. The Falcon 9 is carrying another Space Force GPS satellite. Launch team is targeting 11:38. They only have a 15-minute window, so if it does happen, we'll bring it to you on clickorlando.com. Meteorologist Jonathan Kagis is back with freeze warnings for just about everyone. Once again, Jonathan, feels like temperature with the wind already down to the 30s.
Yeah, for at least that's for everybody in the 40s. Some of us already, actual air temperatures have already slipped into the 30s as well, so it's feeling more like the lower 30s in the Villages and in Wildwood tonight. Mount Dora, we are at 39, 40 at the Cape, still a little breezy along the Cape too. Weather's relatively quiet, it's just really cold. 46 in Cocoa Beach. Palm Coast, we are at 35 degrees as we continue our tumble. Under a mainly clear sky tonight, downtown Orlando with our Light Orlando Delivering Hope Skycam. The breeze, and there's still a touch of it in the air. We talked about this last night at this time that we would shave off a lot of it anyway and back it off a little bit. We're back to the low 40s under a clear sky. The breeze still out there, still evident out of the north, pumping in some of that chill at about 5 to 10 miles an hour. Now, tomorrow morning, colder than what we woke up to today by a couple degrees. The deal is it's a little bit better because the breeze isn't as bad, even though it's going to be colder from a thermometer perspective. 27 in the Villages. We're at 24 in Denell and Holopaw. Good evening. We are at 30 tomorrow, 34 in Titusville. Once we get to the afternoon, subtle improvements. Dominant sunshine again. Temperatures back to around 60. We're back to the upper 50s in Ocala, 57 degrees in Palm Coast. Then we turn our attention to the bigger round of colder air. This one is going to be likely the coldest we have seen in Central Florida since about 2010. It's that cold. Here's our front. It comes through Friday night, works its way through Central Florida on Saturday, increasing our rain chances for the first half of the day. Then we take the plunge. There's 10, 11 o'clock on your Saturday. We've already fallen to 23 in Tallahassee by that time, 31 in Orlando. Again, this means business with this big area of low pressure just pushing down all of the cold. And there you go, the rumble of social media for some snowflakes. There it is. Look towards the Gulf right there. The only opportunity, I think, for a few flakes in Central Florida, and it will be on the Gulf side, is for this Arctic air mass to go over the warm Gulf water, generate a couple of snowflakes that could push on to the Gulf Coast of Florida. Central Florida should not see a flake. There's 5, 6 o'clock on your Sunday morning, and we're talking about actual air temperatures again into the mid-20s. Another very cold day on Monday as well. Subtle improvements again Thursday into Friday. We're back to the mid-60s on Thursday after another cold start in the 30s. We're at 67 on Friday. Mid-50s on Saturday. That's when the front comes in. This one you're also going to know it's around. It is going to be very windy. The rain is going to kick up, and you see it there. There's Sunday morning. We're at 27. Monday morning we're in the upper 20s as well. Eric, we're going to struggle to get out of the 40s. I think most of us don't get out of the 40s for highs on Sunday.
Yeah, another cold night. Cold week ahead. Jonathan, thank you. With more than a week of at or near freezing temps in store, first responders are preparing for an expected increase in calls.
Even though it's Central Florida, we do have issues with hypothermia here.
Next at 10, how they're getting ready and what you can do now to avoid a fire in your house.
With more than a week of at or near freezing temperatures, first responders are gearing up for an increase in calls. I'm News 6's Mark Lehman, and we're in Lake Mary as emergency crews are getting ready for the cold, and we spoke with firefighters about their concerns.
When it comes to medical calls, that's our biggest concern.
Lieutenant Dave Williams' crew at Station 36 is expecting things to get busy over the next week. With a prolonged cold snap in the forecast, there will likely be more calls for people exposed to the frigid temps.
We look at pediatrics and elderly patients, or those who, like the homeless, who are outside for extended periods of time. Even though it's Central Florida, we do have issues with hypothermia here.
Firefighters are also bracing to respond to heater-related issues at homes.
It literally burns that dust off, so that's why you have that heating smell. So we do get a lot of those calls initially. After the first, second, third day, it starts dwindling down. But as far as active fires, we'll see a little bit of an increase, but not drastic.
Many of those fires will be because of space heaters.
If residents are going to use space heaters, just remember 3 feet away from any objects, don't use an extension cord. If you're using an extension cord for a space heater, you're using it in the wrong space.
In this time of year, Williams reminds homeowners to check their smoke detectors.
It's very important that you have working detectors. The recommendation is replace them every 10 years. Whenever we have a time change, every 6 months, change your batteries.
In Lake Mary, I'm your Seminole County community correspondent, Mark Lehman, News 6.
It's a little chilly outside. It's going to be warm compared to what's coming this weekend. Big time blast of cold.
That's crazy.
It is.
Crazy to comprehend. Of course, we're all over it. We'll see you again at 11 o'clock over on News 6.